Hey there, beautiful souls. It's Lisa Nickel, your host at the Sacred and Rooted podcast. I'm a life coach, spirit guide, meditation teacher, and all around student of life. And just, hosting this podcast to try and get some, different perspectives out there. I just want all of our lives to work better for each of us, and however that looks for you, it doesn't need to look the exact same as mine does, but just to get you get your mind going, get you considering different things maybe than what you have in your life right now. So today's episode is all about whether or not you are having quality experiences in your life. And you may be wondering what I even mean by that, really, because it's not something that very many people, you wouldn't really be asking somebody that, and not many people even talk about it. But yeah, whether you're having quality experiences, and so let me just explain, I guess, what I mean by that, and then I'll do a couple different stories. So quality experiences to me are anything that's in front of you, anything that you're experiencing in your life. Are you experiencing it from hustle, grind, overwhelm, overstressed, overtired perspective? Or are you experiencing it through a sacred lens? Are you experiencing it through love and compassion and generosity? And so that's what I mean by that when I ask you, have you been having quality experiences in your life, or what other kind of experiences have you been having? So I'll do a little story here just to kind of really make it clear. So just as an example, I'll take my own life and tell you sort of a typical day. Now I work from home a lot. I do go into the office a couple days a week, but I'll do a work from home. Actually, I'll do a working at the office because that is a little bit more involved. Anyway, so, I get up. The kids get up. Before the kids get up, I get up and get my stuff going. Basically, from the time my alarm goes off, my mind could be going on like everything I need to do today. Da, 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 da. And usually there's a lot of things going on. And so it starts to become, depending on how aligned I am that day, I can get into a mindset of like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. How am I ever going to get all this done? I'm so tired. I don't even feel like getting up. It could be any myriad of things. But I'm getting up because the kids got to go to school. So I get up, get the kids up, or they get up themselves, make my son a lunch with his help or input, and then we race off. We have to leave the house at 8 a.m. To get to his school on time, and sometimes that's a race as far as speeding goes, because I have two teenagers and they sometimes have, their own priorities, which makes leaving the house, early enough that it's just a nice, chill kind of drive. Some days that seems impossible for them. So we're in the car, we're driving, da, 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 da. I could be racing and speeding a little because I'm trying to get to school without being late. And the whole time I'm doing that, I'm just like, this is so stupid. Why are we doing this? Why don't we leave a little earlier? Da, 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 da. If only, everyone could just get their stuff together and agree that this is an important time to get out the door. Oh, sorry. I just hit like a box beside me. Sorry about that. We get to school. Son's off to school. The girls get off to school. I get to work, and immediately, I have a full day of things that I have planned to do at work. However, my engineering job is a little bit of a surprising kind of job. There's always different things that come up that you just cannot even anticipate, or you can anticipate, but you have no idea exactly what day they're going to come in. So there's a full day there, and in the office, there's also just like a lot of coordinating, a lot of talking to other people in the office to make sure other jobs happen. Because I am a senior person in the office, and so there's a lot of, just advising and helping other people move their jobs forward. So that is, a busy day. There's not really too much time to just, sit back and ponder life. And sometimes, depending on the problems that come up, they can be just a little bit, you got to shake your head at them sometimes and just think like, what the heck is going on site, or what in the heck is, how's this the decision? Just things that don't totally make sense and don't seem like the best thing for the project necessarily. But yeah, the day goes by super quick. I'm back at my son's school to pick him up, back at the girls' school to pick them up, back home. And usually somebody, I have 3 kids, so one of them wants to, go over to their friend's place after school. One of them has hockey. One of them might have swimming. There's different things and different times. And so the evening literally can be spent just like, literally, I think I could get a master's in like professional driving or something if that was a thing. 'Cause I can spend a lot of time in the van all evening, just making sure everyone's got their best lives lived, and I'm just in the van. So some days I can really resent that and just feel like, man, like I just don't have 10 minutes to put something, to do something that I want to do, to rest, to just put my feet up for a second and be like, okay, the day's over. Let's just take a breath here. So it can be a lot, and then you get up and do it again the next day. So, when it's just a little bit, it starts to feel relentless at times. If I haven't been, routinely practicing the tools that I have that I use regularly to keep myself in kind of like marinated in the magic, the sacredness, all the other layers of life that are way more meaningful than just the literal like 3D day-to-day, like what are your demands. So by the end of the day, I'm wiped. I can be just plain tired with the fact that whatever little bits of time I thought I might have had to do my thing, to even just read a little, to, connect with my partner, to whatever, something that's sort of my own priority, that has not happened or materialized. And so that would be an example of a day that I would say didn't have a whole lot of quality experiences in it, because I was mostly in my head just thinking, poor me, this is too hard. This is like, how come I don't have more support? How come the kids all have to have something on in different places, different times, different days? It's just like, can we just coordinate this a little bit? Yeah. And so the day goes by, and by the end of it, I'm in bed and I'm just like, okay, holy smokes, I'm glad it's over, and sleeping. And so that's an example of a day that I would have, a very typical day, where if I was going to look back on it, the main theme of the day was me just talking shit to myself about, everything that was kind of like happening to me, and just the fact that I, there wasn't some really, the sun didn't rise and there was some music that played and it was like, ta-da, here's your day, Lisa. It's your day to do everything you've ever wanted. And so, the opposite of that happened, or that never happens, although I do still have that as a dream. Anyway, and so that would be an example, I guess, of something, where I would say I wasn't having quality experiences. I was kind of just getting through it, and, And it shows in the way that, the quality of conversations that I have with my kids, the attentiveness I have with them, the patience I have with them, and as well with the people in the office, with just every person that I come into contact with that day. It's not a quality experience because I'm just kind of running on fumes, or feeling like this isn't actually where I want to be right now, kind of thing. And so let me give you another example. The exact same day, but with quality experiences, throughout. So yeah, I can get up, I can be tired, I can think to myself, yeah, I just definitely need to go to bed early tonight or earlier. But, I can remind myself that, today is a new day. How can I fit in, a couple things that I'd want to do for myself into this day? And the day can have the hockey, the day can have swimming, the day can have kids going to their friend's house, the day can have, a full work day at work. And I get that. That's the life I have. So acceptance is, I guess, probably the first thing. And so where can I weave in some little mini sacred breaks, say, so that I feel like I'm feeding myself and fueling, filling my cup, as well as getting all the stuff done that I need to do today and showing up where I need to show up. And so, yeah, so I can start off with that. I'm in the shower. I'm enjoying the shower. I'm paying attention to the water falling and how warm it is and how lovely it feels. And it's just like so soothing. And I'm present with my shower. And I could be humming a song. I could be listening to some music on my phone and just kind of dancing a little bit in the bathroom as I get ready. And that feels great. And I'm still getting ready. And the kids are getting ready for school. Like, everything's still happening. But the quality of my experience is like 50 times more than the other day that I gave as an example. And so often when I have a quality day, numerous times throughout the day, I'm saying to myself, everything will get done that needs to get done today. Because I do have moments of overwhelm where it feels like there's just a lot going on here. Like, I don't know if everything can get done. And it's just take a deep breath and remind yourself everything that needs to get done today will get done. And the rest, there's always tomorrow. And so I go to work, drop the kids off at school while we're driving instead of racing like a freaking race car driver. And basically all my attention is on, the cars so that I'm not in an accident. If there's cops coming or going, so that I don't get a ticket, like, that's distracting. If we leave, early enough that it can just be a nice regular drive, then I can talk to the kids while we're driving and check in with them, see how it's going. What's anything exciting at school happening today and all that stuff. We can make plans for after school. And so there's a little bit more of a connection there in the car in the morning before everyone does all their stuff, their, school stuff. So I drop them off, go to work, and yeah, again, I'm looking at my agenda and I'm thinking, okay, I got these things I'm planning to do that, what do I absolutely need to finish today or get out today? So I have that list, which is, the one or two priorities that under no circumstances can I not have these done. They need to get out. But everything else, if it's today, if it's tomorrow, it's okay. It'll be fine. No one's going to lose their shit. Nothing's going to happen. The world will go on. So then when people are coming to me and needing advice for other projects and, just general advice on different engineering problems, I'm more present with them. I'm ask better questions. I let them, I ask better questions in the sense that I don't just tell them what I would do and then say, okay, I gotta run, I gotta finish this. I'm trying to get them to see, how they can ask themselves questions so that they can then figure out how to do this on their own. And so it's more present, it's more effective, it's more of a long-term way of communicating with people so that they are growing and, developing as awesome engineers, because that's who I want to work with, right? So that's the day at work. Pick up the kids. Again, we're in the car, talking, chatting, catching up on the day, instead of me feeling just like, whew, I'm already worn out. I have no energy to talk, but, I've been present with every situation that I have. So even if I am a little tired, it's like the rest of the chaos kind of gets tuned out because I'm just focusing on what is in front of me. And so if the kids are in the van and we have time to chat, we're going to chat. We figure out what we're going to have for dinner, whether it's going to be at the house or out, and what the plan is, who's driving where, when, who's getting picked up where, when, and it just feels like, all right, that's it. If I have some time, sometimes literally I will order out, just because I want the extra time that it would take me to cook something, to do something for myself, whether, to make me feel better about the day. So whether it is catching up with work because I need to get something out, if it's one of my top 2 things that I need to do, or doing something else where it's like reading a book, laying down, just taking a couple minutes breather, talking to my partner and just catching up with him. Whatever it is, something that is going to make me feel, a little more tapped in, a little more connected to the depth of my experience and not just literally the racetrack of my experience sometimes. So that's the same day, but it has a totally different feel to it. And, definitely there are better days than others. And sometimes everyone's moods are different. And so that definitely colors or flavors the day. And it has nothing as much to do with me as other people. But at the same time, my responses to them do make a difference in how their mood is allowed to kind of take over, or if they can then correct theirs as well and just be cognizant of what they're putting out there. And so as you consider those 2 examples, how would you, if you think back on a week, a typical day, what kind of experiences are you having? Are you having experiences where you're just rushed, overworked, and just feeling like, whew, I barely made it through that. Glad that's over. Or are you, maybe you have a full plate of things to do, but if each one of them you're thoroughly present for and in a way like enjoying, even if it's not, what you would think is typically enjoyable, but if you're present with the situation, there's an inherent enjoyment in it because it's almost like this creative little, like you're always in a creative sort of zone. And so you're always, you haven't made judgments. You haven't come to the conclusion that you think should happen here. You're just sort of open to what might happen or how it might go, and then see what you can add. And there's a playfulness, a little bit of a enjoyment with that, whether or not you're literally, doing something that's more typical, enjoying something like, you're sitting by the pool having a drink. That's very enjoyable, but you can also be having, a really serious conversation with someone. But if you're both just being direct and honest, that can be enjoyable in the sense that you're sharing yourself, you're sharing your heart, and the other person is taking that in, and then you can build from there. And so it's not as though that's, a giant, really terrible thing. It's just part of being human. And so, yeah, the point of this podcast is to just get you thinking, on a day-to-day thing, what is most of your experiences, are they quality experiences or not? And if they aren't, to just start noticing, I'm sure some are, but if some aren't, there's tweaking you can do there, which isn't really a massive difference, but it can be a massive difference in the sense that you're, at the end of the day, can be like, that was a good day. That was kind of nice, like it certainly wasn't, a whole me day where it's just what I want to do, and anything, any whim, any aim I have, I can just go and do it. No one needs me for anything, nothing. But there's so many variations of what a great day can be, and I just want you to open up to that and to realize that a lot of the quality that you get out of life has to do with your level of presence and attention to what is in front of you, to what you're doing. And the fact that maybe doing 5 things at the same time isn't really the best way to make any one of them feel like, it was a quality job. That's more of something you need to do only if you need to, because a lot of times that takes up all your bandwidth, and then you're not actually completely present for someone if they're talking to you, or if you're trying to talk to someone, it's sort of a really distracted kind of mode. And so then you could even go back to them and say, I don't even exactly remember what you said there. What was that story you were telling again? Anyway, so yeah, I invite you to reflect on, how could you be more present in your life so that you can co-create with the universe these quality experiences that will enhance the quality of your life overall, and how satisfied you feel or how fulfilled you feel with what you're doing. Because, sometimes we have, mindset coaches or manifestor kind of coaches, they'll ask you what your dream day would be like. And you could have a dream day that, is your dream. And so it's like a lot about you, a lot about, if everyone you knew just went perfectly in, in the way that you'd want them to be or do or say things. And that's awesome. And it's definitely something to aim for. But there's a lot of life that isn't just, a vacation. And those are the times, like what I'd really like to drive home here is that, we have hopefully a long life, but we have so many days in a year, and they can't all be vacation days, probably, pretty much everyone. But that's okay. Like, we don't have to be on vacation. I want the feeling of vacation to be moved into your regular life, and that's sort of the goal. And so if you think of how you are on vacation, you're spontaneous, you're open, you're not feeling overly put upon, you're present because it's like you're just in the moment enjoying whatever your vacation experience is, right? And there is less distractions. And so it's almost like a place you can practice if you want to say that. Like if you can think back to your vacation self and sort of try to weave that into your daily life. And you can always decide, some stuff you might have in your daily life and you might think like, there's no way that I can turn this into something really like a quality experience. So maybe I just don't want to do that anymore. I can delegate it. Maybe you can just take it out of your life and you don't even need it. Because a lot of times we do things where, we volunteer for something, or we, tell someone we'll do something, or we make plans, and then you're kind of like you're almost dreading it, where it's like this thing that you have to do, and like, why did I even say I would do it, and da 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 da. And so then just notice if those are sort of things you're getting into. The next time you say something, or someone asks you to do something, or someone, there's something that they want you to volunteer for, maybe just, it's like, no, like, no, that's good. Thank you for thinking of me. But no, I can't do that right now. I've got too many other things on my plate, and that's it. Just very polite, very direct, but so that you don't cram in things that are not something that you feel is a good match in the long run. And having kids makes it a little trickier, because obviously things that they want to do are not, you want to do things for your kids, obviously, because you want them to be successful and to thrive. But there's also things that they can help out with. There's different ways, you can carpool, so you're not always the one driving. Sometimes they can just plan their times a little bit differently with, between the siblings if you have more than one child. And so then the schedule just goes together better than if it's so segmented and, it's like a different half an hour you're picking up or dropping somebody off. So just to get creative on how, if you notice that there's something that you don't seem to be feeling you could have a quality experience with, how could you tweak it and get creative? Can the kids do something? Can you do something? Can your partner do something? How can you look at it? How can you arrange it? How can you schedule it where it would somehow just feel just like a totally different vibe? One where you feel generous, one where you feel loving about contributing your energy, and where you can really appreciate with gratitude, the experience of whatever it is. Yeah, and so I think that's the gist of that. I think the main aim, or to summarize, I guess, is to first consider whether you're having quality experiences in your life. And again, quality experiences just means, there's a sacredness to it. There's a lovingness to it. There's a generosity to it. It's all the higher, like, it's like you're walking in love. You're being love. And so whether it's, okay, so that's the quality experience. If you're trying to figure out, you're thinking to yourself like, no, actually, a lot of my week is just like a whole bunch of chores and a whole bunch of shit that needs to get done. And that could be true. I mean, there's so many things. If I lived by myself or with just my partner, I would have a totally different life, I think, as far as what I do in the run of a day. But at the same time, raising kids is something that's a very sacred contract with them. And so, maybe you want to consider your mindset, how you look at something. Because sometimes you could have the exact same, experience, but if you come at it with a different perspective, it changes everything. And so, even doing like, obviously the dishes have to get done, the freaking garbage goes out, the floors need to get clean, like that stuff isn't so awesome. And not most people don't sit there and think, wow, I cannot wait to do the floors again. It's going to be amazing. But, you can delegate it. You can get a house cleaner if you want. You can consider that it's your time to catch up on some podcasts, and you can get some podcasts on and then get clean on the floor, and it like goes by in no time. You can get the kids to do with your partner. Like, you can share stuff, so it's not like all of the things are yours to do. And everyone feels a little more connected when they contribute to the whole household and how it runs. And yeah, and to just start thinking, I can't remember what number the podcast was that I did before, where the question was, how can I make this work better for me? And so the thing, like, that is the question for every day. And so in this case, how can I get a more quality experience with this? I have to drop my kid off at hockey. And so what can I do? How can I make that a more quality experience for me? And so what I do is I'll bring a book, because I like to read. And I don't so much get energy from just randomly chit-chatting with the hockey parents. Some parents totally do, and that's great. So just get to know yourself and figure out, what you really get energy from. And so for me, I can get some chatting done with the parents. Then I can kind of move away from the group and open up a book. And even if it's just 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of reading, it feels so nice. And it feels relaxing, and it feels kind of indulgent, because I'm just in a hockey rink, and I should probably be talking to the hockey parents the whole time, but I'm not doing shoulds anymore. So yeah, and so then when my son's done and we're headed back home, instead of feeling like, oh my God, like I just talked to these people that are basically strangers for the last hour, I didn't really get any break time. Like, there was just nothing that really fueled me there. So, but with the reading, it turns it right around. And all of a sudden, I can make that experience a quality experience. And, it's not that I'm not going to ever drive him to hockey or decide to never do that, because it's obviously he needs to get there and it's important to him. But also, I want to be involved in what he's doing. And so, yeah, so just taking some time during the practice that he's doing or the game to do something for myself. And that just turns the whole thing in a totally different direction. And suddenly it just feels like, all right, that was nice. That was really nice. And then when we're in the car driving back home, all of a sudden, I've got the energy and the interest and the just capacity to be talking to him, see how the game went, see how the practice went, ask questions, really be interested and like present there, instead of, just having a quiet car ride back and everyone's just too pooped to talk. Or he just, he loves to talk. So sometimes he could probably talk with barely any input from the other end. But like, that's not a real, conversation. It's just him kind of like going off on just, current thoughts in his head, sort of thing. And so it doesn't have the same sharing. It doesn't have the same connection to it that it would if I was actually there and present. Okay, so I think that is it. I hope that was thought-provoking, and I wish you luck going through your week, going through your month, going through whatever days, and just starting to become aware of where you sort of detach and disconnect from the presence that you can bring to any situation in your life. And when you are present, to also notice how much more enjoyable that is, and how much more it felt like, you were connecting with someone, or you were doing some really good work there, or something like that. And just to notice the difference. And then from there, I think you'll naturally want to kind of keep tweaking until you can say consistently, you've got quality life experiences. You're actually pretty happy with how your life's going. You're pretty satisfied with how your relationships are working. You're feeling like you have a meaningful life, and that is that's awesome. That's a great feeling. Anyway, I hope that, yeah, was thought provoking. And if if you're going through this and kind of tweaking and noticing, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message, and I'd love to hear how it's impacting you. All right, take care, and I will see you in the next episode.